What's up, hunters? Last month, I had the opportunity to go to Pax West and try out Monster Hunter Wilds. I don't think it surprises anybody that Monster Hunter Wilds was the most popular attraction at PAX this year. The lines were insane. Every morning they capped at like 45 seconds, maybe a minute, and the lines were like, all right, come back in 4 to 6 hours. And let me tell you, there was no coming back later in the day. I had the opportunity to try out the game early on Friday morning
before it gets out of control.
since I was able to access the floor early for media hour. I'm super thankful to the Capcom Creators Program for allowing me to schedule a time to get in and play the game, because otherwise I'm not sure I would have had that opportunity. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Rin, and I've been playing Monster Hunter since the early days on the PlayStation 2. And we were lucky enough to get our copy signed by Ryozo at PAX this year. It was super cool. So I've been playing the Greatsword for 20 years now, and my experience with the game was going to be, let's try out the Greatsword and the dual blades so that I have something meaty and I have something quick. And just as a pre-note, this is going to be an unscripted video. I might fumble over my words a little bit, but I feel like it's much more natural to just talk about my thoughts rather than write them down and try to read from a script. With that being said, we got to fight in a group of 4 against the Doshiguma, and I had the privilege of getting to play with Peachy Pop, who is a prominent cosplayer and Monster Hunter influencer. Now, since this is an early build, we did run into a few errors and game crashes, but that's to be expected. After a little bit of troubleshooting, we were able to get our hunt underway. The footage you're going to see today is B-roll that we were provided since we were not able to capture footage on the floor. Fortunately, I was provided with footage from the Greatsword. Now, a few key notes that I would like to make point of here is that one of the biggest quality of life features that we have in Monster Hunter Wilds is when you break apart, you're now just granted the item rather than having to pick up a shiny or wait until the hunt is over. I think that's really cool, since sometimes you don't want to break your flow of combat or wait until the end. You're just after something specific, and now you know that you got it. So it's really cool that they did that. The next thing I want to talk about is Greatsword specific. Now, the focus mode is really big, like it's a huge deal. You getting to turn your slash means we no longer have to be as knowledgeable in the hunt and know how the monster is going to move, which can be really difficult in multiplayer. It's a lot easier in solo when you're not using a companion, since you know that the enemy's going to come at you, or do specific movements like T-Grex where you could preposition where it's going to land after its charge, rather than waiting for it to come at you. Using the focus mode to turn your character while you're attacking, I know some people were like, oh, it seems like it's going to be baby mode. No, it feels really awesome. It feels really freaking cool. I love it. It's going to be such an important part of my gameplay, I feel like. I got to experiment around with it a little bit, and while it may seem like it makes it a little easy mode to be able to just turn your character whenever you're slashing, it feels super punishing and unfun to whiff a lot of your true charge slashes. And sure, you could say get good, but this means that monsters can be a lot more mobile and natural with how they may move, and now you can play into that on a variety of weapons. So it feels really freaking cool. I love it. The focus attacks also feel really meaty. Being able to open up a wound and then break the wound feels like a system that's a little bit better than the clutch claw tenderizing. I felt like that broke away from my combat, and I found it more of a nuisance or a chore where I had to latch onto a monster and tenderize it to attack, where in this, it doesn't feel required to make these wounds, but with my limited experience, maybe that's a little bit naive, and we're going to need it a lot more than I think we are. Either way, the attacks for when you're using these focuses feel really awesome. They feel really good, and they are part of each weapon's design. It's not like you're just using some random tool to open something up. You're doing a big meaty slash, or you're unloading a bunch of shots into the wyvern's side of its body. It's really cool. It's really cool. And on that note, the rising soaring slash and the clashes also feel so awesome. You are gritty, you are strong, you are putting that greatsword up, and you are just telling the monster no and toppling it, sending it, reeling. It felt so awesome to be able to do that. And I got to execute those moves a couple of times throughout our hunt. It was, you gotta try it for yourself. Watching the video does not do it justice, let me tell you. Greatsword has naturally been able to resist a lot of attacks to keep their onslaught up over the years. We've gotten quality of life changes like the shoulder tackle, or being able to just guard or roll out of attacks, which guarding has become much easier over the years as well. Of course, it's at the cost of your sharpness. So now we have a few different options, right? We have the ability to rising soaring slash to stop the monster's attack and then topple them over. We have the ability to guard, and if you perfect guard, you can go into a clash. We have the ability to roll out of attacks, and we have the shoulder tackle. All are great options now in Monster Hunter Wilds for all of the types of attacks that we're going to be seeing. And let me tell you, Raidao, awesome. I got to fight him. He showed up and we fought him for about 30 seconds and then he just kind of flew away forever and was gone. It would have been really nice to get to fight him a little bit longer. Like I did get to see a few attacks and they're really cool. The tells can be a little quick, so getting out of the way might get you railgunned, but that's all right. It's not too bad. It's part of the learning process, right? And it sounds so cool, so metallic, so visceral. I cannot wait to take down Raidao, who, as a reminder, is not the Apex flagship monster of the game. It's just the Apex predator of the region that we got to experience. So we did get to primarily fight the Doshiguma, but the Balahara did show up and did come in and do a turf war. I got to experience sinking down into the little sandpit that they created. I wanted to see what that was like. And effectively, we go down and there's it's like a little loading screen to black, and then we appear underground. And then we have to run back up, which could be a little bit annoying. However, if you're going to be fighting the enemy down there, there were some like stone branches kind of, which looks like the Balahau. It looks like the Balahara will wrap itself around and use that as like different types of ways to attack us. So that looks like an awesome terrain, and I can't wait to experience it when we get the full game. But over on the Doshiguma side, we did send it packing a few times, and the Seikret riding system is not as good as the Palamute system. You take a little bit of time for the Seikret to come up to you, and then you jump on. And then when you're attacking, or you're following the monster, you can jump off and do a mounted attack, but it's not as easy as Palamute because you kind of have to lead the monster, or when you do your jumping disengagement, it's going to get away from you. So more often than not, you're just going to get on your Seikret and you're going to follow to the destination of where the monster is going. Once we got there, changing weapons, it takes a couple seconds. It's not too fast, it's not too slow, it's kind of whatever. I really think what's going to happen for me as a Greatsword main is I may bring a status affliction like sleep in a secondary weapon, whether it's bowgun or sword and shield or whatever, and then use that to do a true charge wake up call. Or, we could throw barrel bombs, which is really cool too. That's probably going to be how I'll use my secondary weapon. But my primary weapon with Greatsword, I may also bring dual blades in case there's a monster that's a little annoying and I want to be able to use the duels. But for Greatsword, the last thing I want to talk about is the ability to true charge slash. We have slinger ammo, so people were asking me, can you still use the slinger ammo to set up your true charge slash? I was not able to, if it is possible, but it looked like I did try doing an initial slash, a slingshot, and then going into true charge. Not an option. It didn't activate. It didn't work like it does in World, which is fine because we have a lot of options now anyways. And I do think that was a little bit of a shortcut in our playstyle, and I don't think it's going to be as necessary now. So I wasn't able to do that. If somebody else is able to do it, great. It'd be cool to see if it still exists. I don't mind if it's not there, but I was not able to find that myself. So we were playing with two other players, and they were really hype. Like they were all about the animations of their attacks on the monster. I was all about the animations the monster was doing on us. I was purposely taking a lot of attacks to see how our hunter reacted, and for a lot of them, the way we get sent reeling looks so meaty and so gritty and so intense. It felt like we were actually getting our butts kicked, and it was really awesome. I liked those animations. I liked those effects. Now, going into camp, when you're changing your gear, it feels pretty comfortable. Like you just go into your tent and you get to change your gear, you get to change your items, you get to change your palico, you get to eat your meal all in one place, which is super great. For the pop-up camps, we didn't get to experience it. It is important to note that the main camp is still going to be there. Like, I don't think that monsters can actually attack that. And when I asked, they were pretty sure that it's only the pop-up camps that can be affected. So don't worry. You still have something to fall back to. You still have something safe. Don't worry about it too much. The pop-up camps are going to be very, very nice. You may find yourself positioning them like I think I'll probably place them where monsters will retreat so that I can travel to them quickly when a monster's on the run. That way I can continue the hunt even faster. But maybe that won't be the case. Maybe I'll do something else. We'll have to see how it goes. But the terrain feels really wonderful to traverse. We did only get the first locale, and I know there's a lot of footage out there, but it just words cannot put into how beautiful the terrain is. And Wilds truly is a successor to World. Like, if you appreciated World, you are going to love Wilds. And if you liked Rise, you're still going to like Wilds. Wilds looks like it's just the natural progression of both games, where it's taking the environment and the world of World and taking a couple of features from Rise and kind of making a baby out of them, and it's just this beautiful combination, and I cannot wait. With Monster Hunter Wilds coming out next year, I'm going to be playing a ton of Generations Ultimate, World, and Sunbreak. What games are you going to be playing? Thank you guys for coming by on my thoughts, and I hope to catch you next time. Happy hunting!